Hello there, Josh here again, um, with this week's video preview of a couple of big handicaps from Ascot. You'll see on the blog there's kind of an Ascot post taking shape with some stats and trends pointers for the 305 and the 340. I'm going to kind of flick through those two. I may jump over to the Charlie Hall Chase as well and just say a couple of things that might be of interest. And yeah, we'll see how we go. I have not looked at any trainer blogs or quotes or anything, and I don't plan to until I've made a decision. Only then, of course, to read something instructing me or informing me that a horse won't be fit. But we shall see. I'm going to try and blank out all noise this week and ongoing, including opinions of others, and trainer quotes, views, and try and make a decision. As always, these videos are very much me previewing them and talking through the races in a way that I hope helps you come to some kind of decision yourself and helps you solve the puzzle if you want. Because using information, pointers, and hopefully videos like this and other bits and pieces, plus your own thinking, to then land on a winner. Well, those winners are always best, aren't they? They give you a bit more of a buzz, regardless of how much you're betting. It's just quite fun being right sometimes. So that's always the aim. And with that said, we have the 305. So yeah, do watch with a notepad, I suppose, if you want. Note down anything of interest. Pause the video at various points as well. If you wish, I'm going to jump between Horse Race Base and GG's Gold. I'll start with the 305. The listed handicap hurdle, a smaller field than can be the case. I haven't applied the stats or trends yet. Because I thought that might kind of influence my thinking when looking at this. So very much looking at the horses, the profiles, form, the trainer form that you can see in front of you. For those of you who aren't aware, this is the excellent GG's Gold. There's probably a link below this video or various others where you can take a 30-day trial for a quid if you so wish. And the race cards are well, very useful and informative when it comes to various different things that I'll flick through now. So yes, here's the race card. I'll go on Instant Expert first. This is just telling us which horses have won or placed and their profile against the race conditions. It's good to soft. There may be some showers. Will it go through to soft? I should think it'll be hard enough work at Ascot because, well, certainly up to Champions Day, which obviously is a little way ago now, but they didn't half take a battering weather-wise, so we shall see. It's down officially as good to soft. You can jump over to the BHA website and get updates from the clerk of the course, and there's a link here with kind of more information, which is pretty good. Breezy forecast, possibly some rain showers, so good to soft. Maybe it might be good to soft in places. We shall see. I suppose by this point in the day there'll have been a few races, so we'll know if it's riding softer than advertised or not. So yes, so here you can kind of look at the horse's form against the race conditions. So good to soft through to soft. Class 1, because it's a listed race, I like to kind of move that down to class 2 because obviously you get some very competitive, decent class 2. So we can see those with form in class 1s and 2s. I'm on handicaps there. I can tick that to all codes. We've got the distance, we've got the field size as well, which of course always is important in handicap hurdles. I've said before, some races and some horses show their best when they get a relentless gallop, big field. It allows them to settle. Some of them are very competitive and like running through horses and only do well in that scenario, especially those that are strong travellers and could be keen and may need a pace, yeah, to settle off. And then there's those in smaller fields that may do well because they always race prominently and can dictate the pace and they can settle, and kind of winning those from the front can be easier, I suppose, in field sizes like this rather than kind of 24 runners. But as we saw from some of the Cheltenham races on the October Andover hurdles, that is still possible if you're able to get a freebie on the front and can dictate. So yes, so we've got that in front of you. You can pause that and kind of mull over it. That's the winning form. I can look at handicap. I can look at handicap hurdle. you can see the kind of handicap marks against their last winning mark. Tikani, who is Fergal O'Brien's, is £9 above his last winning mark. Sebastopol £6. So you can make a judgment on that, but of course then you need to look through the horse to see who's unexposed and is potentially open to improvement, is going to make their way up the rating scale. But you can see here the Paul Nicholls horse, Malaya, ticks a lot of boxes in terms of being there and done it in conditions, including the only horse in the race with a hurdle or National Hunt flat win at the course, and that was a hurdle win. So that may be of some interest. I can select, and maybe I'll do this another time because I've forgotten to do it this time. You can, in GG's, kind of remove the odds options, so I wouldn't get to see those because they can influence you as well, of course, either positively or negatively. So yeah, you've got that in front of you there. You've got the handicap, that's winning form. So this is handicap hurdles. That's all, so that's non-handicap and handicap hurdle. National Hunt flat races, you can see that there, that's win and place in these conditions. And if I jump over to handicap again, you can see that there, Chaos Marcius in terms of placed form. So yeah, you can ponder that. And yeah, within these GG's Instant Expert, I can click down his form line so I can see easily just where this Ascot form winning race was. That was a 4-year-old Class 2 handicap hurdle, March 18. So not overly recent as such, but 16 lengths second there in February. So you can see that form there, and yeah, how the form's been achieved. Again, class, I can click there, you can kind of see the level of form. That Sandown race was fairly decent, that was a good performance, March 19. So on and so forth. KS Marcius placed, this was in a Class 1, 3rd of November. I assume this was probably this race last year, which was also 9 runners, was it? Possibly. So, well, I should actually just have a look while I'm here. But yeah, so you can see that form, and you can jump around to do whatever you want, really. So that's that. What else am I going to look at? I'm ticking around to 7 minutes. I will try and keep this to 20, 10 minutes on each race. So jumping to the race, the pace. So that's Instant Expert. Let's look at the pace. Always important. You can kind of change the going, as I've said here. Generally, no shock, being prominent and leading isn't a bad thing. I can kind of sort this. This is by their last historical 4 runs. They get a mark of 4 in GG's if they led or were prominent. They get a 3 if they kind of chased the leaders, 1 if they were held up, etc. And it just kind of tops that up. And then you can see the graphic and you can visualize, given that pace map, given here, would you say that you want to be making a case for something around here? Aidan Coleman may be aggressive on Kid Commando. Emma Lavelles likes to race prominently, track the pace. Fergals can, so on and so forth. Dear Scythe tends to be held up out the back. Well, a few of these can be ridden patiently. So they may need these to go too hard or fall in a hole. Will they be advantaged tactically? We shall see, but that's the pace map. That's the information. You can digest that and do as you please. And then of course, you can look at trainer form. We can look at, that's what these 14, the red generally bad, the green generally good. But of course, there's always more to it than that. But Fergal, last 14 days, 0 from 38 places. The places are still okay. That could be a lot of kind of summer horses coming to the end of their time. That could be quite a few, maybe the odd one needing the run. So you've got things to consider there. McCain's in form. Only ever had 4 runners at Ascot, which is always interesting. Doesn't fire too many darts here. Nicholls, of course, as we know, generally going well, although 16% below market expectations. They're possibly over bet, but they're running well and in form. You're going to use Nicholls' form as a reason to kind of be put off anything, and so on and so forth. We've got Anthony Honeyball here. He's started well. He can ready them. Those first starts in a handicap stats may be worth noting. You can see the record there. They can tend to be, well, not put in at very big prices, and can tend to be yeah, put in short, but they're still performing way above market expectations. So yeah, any Anthony Honeyball handicap debutant, especially hurdles, is worth a closer look. He does well with Aidan Coleman. He's possibly, well, he is one of his go-to jockeys, and that's kind of always a significant booking, I think. But again, the market has probably latched onto that. So then we've got, going through the horses and making a judgment. I'll just touch on those that are seemingly unexposed. I suppose Fergal's has had a few runs in handicap hurdles class 3, so this is a bit of a step up. Is fit though and in form, I suppose, which may count for something. Tom Lacey's in the unexposed, fourth run in a handicap. Again, you can always use these RPRs down the right, against their mark to try and give you a feeling and a flavour of whether or not the horse may be well handicapped or has something in hand. Remember, in the context that if you're dealing with unexposed horses, they can leave some of these figures behind, but in these kind of races I do like to see RPRs recently and sometimes consistently above their current handicap mark. That helps give me confidence they may be well handicapped, as well as kind of you can look at their then what form, what horses have they been beating, what have those horses gone on to do. Dear Sire's interesting in the sense he can hang left. Now the Ascot hurdles course is outside of the chase course, isn't it? I think, yeah. So if he does that, he'll be hanging against this near side rail, I think, once they kind of swing in. So that may be no bad thing, but I need to check the position of rails and how the track's set up, actually, which I'll probably do after this video. But he at least arrives in form. He hacked up. I suppose any horse that hacks up in October on seasonal return, you've always got the not the fear, but the potential that they came up against either summer horses coming to the end of their summer racing campaign, or horses that needed the run. And sometimes fitness can kind of make those winning distances seem bigger than they otherwise would be. But he arrives fit, in form. He's got his £7 off. The RPR is okay, now up to his mark. He is 8, he's exposed, but he's fit and he's in form, and he's been running okay, but some questions there. I think this 16 furlong here may be ideal, but of course he is open to attack from anything that may be more progressive and have a bit more class. Lacey's maybe one of those. We've got the Richards horse here. I mean, you can look down at these various recent form and those different things I've said, pause and ponder and make decisions if you so wish. The Nichols horse is interesting, well, to a point, as 5-year-old is Nichols. But again, some of his form may leave him with questions. I'm not sure. I'll let you to have a closer look. Emma Lavelle's unexposed maiden hurdle, novice hurdle, so only second run in a handicap hurdle. Will he come on for the run here? Possibly. Is Nick Schofield an interesting booking to a point? He hasn't had a winner here in 5 years, but a fair few places. He might not ride too many that have live chances. The trainer jockey combo isn't used too often, but he is a decent jockey. Emma's are a bit hit and miss at the moment. 2 from 38 in the last 14 days, 1 from 19 in the last 14. Sorry, 2 from 38 in the last 30. Not a great track record as such, so the odd question there. But again, maybe some of them have been needing the run, etc. Malaya, as we know, as you saw from that instant expert, ticks a lot of boxes in terms of being there and done it in conditions. He hasn't got a winning record fresh as yet. If I go on his 60 days, but a few places, that may be a question. Again, he can be held up and may need luck. Anthony Honeyballs is the thoroughly unexposed, really, for his age, especially. Lightly raced over hurdles. He really is in the could be anything. Yes, his no eye-popping RPRs against his mark, but of course he is in the could be anything category, and he will probably race prominently. I should think he will be fit, so he's interesting, but he's favourite. I suppose you're then judging all of that against price. Nikki Henderson's mare has been off the track a bit. I do wonder, you can go back and look through some of this form, whether she shapes and runs as if she might want further now, and certainly may want a kind of relentless pace to chase, as she did at Cheltenham in March 19, and so on and so forth. So again, you can look through that and judge her mark. But there's a few pointers there anyway. I've ticked around the 15 minutes, which is 5 minutes longer than I should have for this particular race. You can see Ian Williams' form there, but there's various different things there that you may be able to ponder, I will jump over to Horse Race Base as the final thing, just to ponder these ratings. You can always look, they are a very good guide, and sadly I seem to ignore them last weekend. More fool me. Chris, who owns Horse Race Space, there's loads of factors go into them, and they're a guide. They are a decent guide. You can see Dearsire, just because he's kind of been there and done it. That's quite eye-popping in the context of this race. But then you've got Lacey's. Honeyballs are in a good position here. So is Richards. Maybe just looking at those that are 200 plus, is the winner going to come from this little group? Possibly. I may argue in my head I want to have, if I get involved in this race and think anything's value, want to have at least one of something in here on side. Then you've got those, at least on Horse Race Base ratings, have a question or two to answer. Maybe at what may be a short price from the Henderson mare, having a rating down here could be a reason to take on, similar to Nichols, maybe, but they're not dead cert. The horse up here is definitely going to win, but they are a guide. So with that said, let's jump over to the 340. I'll hide me notes from various different things there. Again, Black Corton has one of those Frodon looks. As I jump over to the Sodexo Gold Cup chase, I mean, he's not quite as good as Frodon, but he's pretty solid. I'll touch on him in a minute, but you can see that Horse Race Base rating there. Clear Top, Voltor, Watmore in a good little spot, Regal Encore's in a good little spot, Comanche Red's in a good little spot. Some of these down here, certainly on the Horse Race Base ratings anyway, have questions to answer. That doesn't mean they're not going to answer them, and do not use these ratings to be put off a horse necessarily, more so maybe to steer you or to give you more information to make a positive case for a horse is maybe the best way to say that. But you can see the different things there, so you can pause that if you want and ponder. If I jump over to the 340, this video is probably going to be 25 minutes, isn't it? Let's start with trainer form. You can see Nichols, Henderson going well. Tizard, bit hit and miss, isn't he, in the last few weeks? Some of them are running as if they need it. Some are not, but some questions over his form there. The Wolford form, they haven't got going just yet. 60 plus days off, 2 from 55 in the last 2 years. I'll touch on him in a minute when I come back. I'm just looking at various different trainer pointers using these symbols as a guide. Chris Gordon maybe wouldn't, he's getting better horses now, and he is a decent trainer. And maybe he will have horses that can do better at the big, the grade A tracks such as Ascot. Henderson, Honeyball, we've touched on. Regal Encore has won this race before, I think, or is it the other Ascot race? Hold on, I always get confused. Yes, not this one, is it? Sorry, it's another one that he has run well in before, but you can see the past winners there. So he is interesting just because of his course form. I'll come back to it. Well, I say interesting. Yeah, because his course form. I'll jump over to Instant Expert in a minute. I mean, he's 12-year-old, but does like it around here. Adrian Dupont, yeah, Nichols in form. Henry Daly's in form, as we saw at Cheltenham last weekend with his handicap hurdle winner. He can ready them after a break, and the yard are going well. He's only had 11 runners here the last 5 years. 5 have placed. He would like to use, or he does use Dickie Johnson when he could. But having said that, you can see they're only 1 from 26 in the last year. So, some interest there. Various different things I've touched on. If I jump over to here, I want handicap chases, or let's just go on chases. Class 1 to 2, good to soft through to soft, but as weather changes and different conditions change, you can, the joy of the GG's race cards, you can change here. Don't forget, you can also register as a free user. There'll be a link below this video on YouTube anyway, and they kind of you get full access to the race cards for I think 3 to 5 races a day across the UK cards, so always worth doing, and various other tools as well, so you don't even need to spend any money. So yes, we've got the handicap ratings down the right hand side, which you can see here. This is all chase form. If I do place, you can see those that have got decent form here. That's what I mean, 6 from 9 for Regal Encore. Yes, this chase in December, isn't it? Maybe Andy's won in February. He's won that December one a couple of times. I wonder if that's the target again. You never know. Is he going to need the run here or be tuned up? But he's not getting any younger these days, obviously. Adrian Dupont's back on his last winning mark. If I flip to handicap chase forms you can see there. Black Corton's £5 above. Is that going to stop him? We shall see. But you know, place form here, including in this race last year. Walk in the Mill, Valtor, you can see there the kind of marks, and course form, etc. So I don't need to go into too much there. Again, you can pause, focus, drop down, you know, whatever sets of tools you use. You can maybe use this as a weigh-in or something to have a closer look at the horse that may interest you. So that's that. Let's jump over to pace as I tick around to 20 tick around 20 minutes. If I go good to soft through to soft, you can see the advantage of you know, leading and racing prominently. 7 of the winners from the 9 in this sample in these race conditions, but 7 of the 9 have been leading or prominent. You know, 2 from what, 70 odd runners versus kind of 6 from kind of 50 odd, 7 from 50 odd. So you know, it can, if you can get on the front end at Ascot Chase, get in a rhythm. That can be important. Nothing really bombs forward here. I would be shocked if Bryony doesn't try and do a Frodon. I fully expect her to try and lead, but if not, be in the right spot. Tom Cannon probably won't have Comanche Red too far away, but he's got stamina to prove first run back, so I wouldn't have thought he'd be ultra aggressive. Might bite. You know, it looks like he'll be up there. Regal Encore can track the pace. Mr. Malarkey, when John Joe Jr. rode him at Kempton, was more aggressive and he took it up kind of halfway through. So depending on what he's here to do, he doesn't like it overly soft, so we'll want the rein to stay away, but it might be okay for him. That's if he doesn't need it, of course. Then you can see Militarian, who's won here before in a Class 3, and when he did that, he raced more prominently and was up here. So it'll be interesting to see what Shane Quinlan does on him. But you can see some of these other ones are generally and can be kind of ridden more patiently, including Watmore. Maybe over this trip, Watmore's up, and it's Dickie Johnson. I do like Watmore's profile. I think he's got something in him this season. It might well be this race. I wonder if he'll have him more prominent. Maybe because he's stepping up in trip, he's actually able to hold a position easier over this 3 miles. But what other things should I highlight in the time I've got left? Black Corton's had a wind up. Interesting. Nichols is in form. Head-to-head record you can look at. You know, he's beaten and finished ahead of a few of these a few times, and reverses as well. Some of their form does tie in from this race last year. I mean, he's been more lightly raced in kind of the last year, Black Corton, compared to what he had before. I mean, you can see how many runs he's had in that year and here. You know, he's put some fine efforts together. Galway Plate, when I fancied him, ran a cracker. He was overpriced, just got bumped into one, sadly, for Gordon Elliott, typical. Vindication, he was 3rd in this last year, off a couple pounds higher. I'm not sure there's a Vindication in this race this year, but we shall see. Maybe the wind up will have a difference. I also fancied him at Kempton. If only I'd have backed Frodon a number of times. I've backed Black bloody Corton. But there we go. That's racing. You know, he's putting some stonking RPRs. 166 is 166 there. He should have won at Kempton. Bryony, I'm not quite sure what she was doing. She got in completely the wrong position. Then she didn't know whether to go forward, come back. He basically raced wide the whole way round. Odd. If she'd have jumped him off on the inside, I don't really know what happened. There was a lot of pace early, and I'm not sure if he got out of his comfort zone. If he can get in a rhythm, he should have. If he'd have raced promptly and against the rail, he'd have probably won that by 4 or 5 lengths, given how that worked out. And he still had energy to keep going after the last. So that was a decent run. And if I think he was going to win that off 159, maybe 161 won't stop him. We shall see. He does bring the class element. Obviously, 161 against some 140s horses. Where have we seen this before? Last week, Frodon, he also jumps out on the horse race base ratings, doesn't he, as well? So, you know, you can use that information and ponder and do what you want. What else have we got? You know, Might Bite. You're looking through some of these older horses and whether they're going to bounce back to anything like their best. That's probably a stretch for Might Bite. Mr. Malarkey may have another decent handicap in him. 156 against 147, now up to 151. All of Tizard's ran awfully in March, and I suppose arguably they haven't really run consistently well since. So whether or not some issues there, I don't know. Plenty of running like they need the run. He has been better on decent ground. I think I would fancy Black Corton to overturn that Kempton form, possibly. But he's interesting. Walk in the Mill, I assume this is going to be a prep for another go at the Beecher Chase in December. I assume. I can't think he'll be fully tuned up for this. They probably want his mark to come down a couple of pounds as well also. 10-year-old, the yard aren't in great form. I'd be shocked if this has been the plan given his liking for the Aintree fences. Comanche Red is a horse to keep on side this season. This race may well be his. He is thoroughly unexposed. Obviously, this Kempton novice chase form here is good. Simply the bets. I mean, you look at that and see what's come out of it. On the slopes, obviously didn't frank it. When I fancied him last week, he did need the run, but that's simply the bets form is obviously solid or solid from last year. This is his first go over 3 miles. It's his first run here. It's his first run of the season. Whether or not that makes 4 to 1, 9 to 2 feel a bit short, that's a subjective value judgment that you and I have to make. And he does shape as if he'll say we can ignore that last run. He hurt himself there. I think he lost a shoe and cut his leg. He came back sore, according to his trainer, from one of the horses to follow books I have. So it might have been in Mark Howard's one possibly, but yeah. So don't take that run too seriously. He did have an issue there, hence that performance when he was quite well fancied. But yeah, he's in theory he's a horse who should be more to come. But he was whacked £13 for that victory. So you know, is he a 155, 160 horse? In handicaps, we shall see, but hopefully for the team he's a bit of a flag bearer for them. Whether or not it's today we shall see. It does shape as if 3 miles will be more than within range. Then you've got some of the 11-year-olds. Valdor has good form at Ascot and various other different things we can look at. Older horses don't do too bad in this race actually, so I wouldn't automatically look at the 10, 11-year-olds and maybe even Regal Encore and go, or based on age you definitely can't win a Saturday feature handicap, because the odd older horse has gone okay in this from memory, I think. But as I say that, let me just, yeah, you had 10-year-old winner there, 11-year-old winner there. I can look at the profile. This is all the way back, and I can look at age here. You know, this is the last 22 or so runnings in fairness, but you can see 10, 11-year-olds, couple of winners from not very many runners. So it can happen. It's one of those early season chases, I suppose. What else? You can go down. Adrian Dupont, you know, like I said, Nichols in form. He does have some ability, but maybe the odd question, should he overturn that Kempton form with Mr. Malarkey, Black Corton? We shall see. I need to watch some of these runs back again. Militarian is interesting just from a course form perspective, and he won this race in November, Class 3 in November. I wonder if this is going to be a prep run for that, but he clearly can go well fresh, for all that obviously he has a class question in this lineup, and the jockey maybe has the odd question also in terms of ability, but maybe he doesn't get too many chances. But he has won fresh, although he doesn't arrive in great form. Whether or not he can pick up a more minor handicap at Ascot this season, we shall see. Like I said, I'm not quite sure if there's a vindication in this, as in, you know, unexposed second season chaser, or certainly in handicaps. Where are they going to be? And I think they're going to be either Comanche Red, or Watmore. They're the two that are kind of unexposed in handicap chases and in conditions. Watmore I like, you know, he's 11 to 2 or so. I think is possibly well handicapped. 138, you can see his RPRs there. That Kempton form was all right. Although I say unexposed over the trip, he has tried 3 miles twice, including there, and you know, he's a bit. So we shall see. Maybe he's a horse without a trip. Maybe he wants better ground. I'm not sure. He has won fresh. We can see here. So yeah, but well, a while ago actually, he won on seasonal return in October 17 in a novice hurdle. Kept on well there. So he ran as if he was fit in 2018. Not so good there, but probably outpaced over 16. Didn't run too bad in this novice chase, but did jump left slow a bit, but was getting better. So yeah, no, interesting. Given his profile over fences, 1 from 6 free places, I'd like to think at some point there may be more to come, and he might be one of those that kind of gets better as an 8-year-old. And the yard are in form. So yeah, so there's some various bits of information. I've talked for 10 minutes longer than I should have. Hopefully something of interest for you in that little lot, that you can pause, ponder, and that helps you land on the right horse. And of course, if you do fancy anything, if you found this video useful, it points you to anything, do post a comment on Saturday's blog post. Should I mention, I'm not going to, well, Charlie Hall is here, grade 2. Should be a cracking race. Be interesting. To my mind, it's Surname versus Vindication, having had a quick look. But we shall see. I've had good authority from, I know someone who knows one of the owners of Vindication, that he's fit. He's here to run the race of his life. Their plan, if he's good enough, is to go here, I think, then King George, and then the Gold Cup. So they really like him as a horse. So we shall see. But he is here to run his race, so good luck to them. So Surname, obviously classy horse as well, and the classy horse in the race, 176. So it should be informative, really, for some of these races moving forward. Will those two kind of underperform, need the run, not run their race? I suppose that might bring Sam Spin if he's fit. I write possibly interesting as an each way bet of an interest. I say that having not had a proper look at this race, only because he was behind Nutswell, who obviously ran and won the Old Rowan. But of course, he's got a stamina question as well in a kind of blood and thunder hard run race, maybe, and he's a 146 horse. Anyway, I haven't really looked at this. As you can tell, I'm kind of those things coming to me there, but we shall see. Anyway, I didn't really want to touch on that race. I've gone on for 10 minutes longer than I should have done, but hopefully you found something of interest there. This is Josh saying thanks for watching, thanks for listening, good luck with any bets as always, and until the next time, bye for now.